I'm going to read a chapter from the book, and it happens to be my favorite chapter. It's really the end. I'll leave the gore and the rest of it for you to read at home, okay? Rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. And that's a quote from Maya Angelou. The first in line to siphon Tupac's money was Billy Garland, also known as the sperm donor, the father Tupac had never known. Tupac was 23 years old and was already famous when he met Billy for the first time in 1994. He was laying critically wounded when Billy showed up at his bedside. Tupac talked to him a little bit, and during the encounter, Afeni sat quietly in a corner on the carpet, giving space to her bedridden son, at the same time letting Billy know he did not have the full floor. Oh yes, and Billy showed up again in 1996 at the Las Vegas hospital where Tupac lay in a coma. I wonder what good it does for the dying when you're there for them at the end of their lives, but you never showed up for them while they were living. As far as Billy Garland goes, he seemed to have popped up out of nowhere, at least from where I sat. I knew of the men who had raised Tupac, who had loved Tupac. I had heard all the stories about Tupac's Uncle Tom and his stepfather Matulu, but I had never heard the name Billy Garland mentioned. I had heard all the when Tupac was a baby stories, and Billy Garland's name had never come up. Legs was mentioned, this tough, colorful street dude who respected Afeni and loved her little boy. Took him to the barbershop in McDonald's and called him his son. I had heard about Legs, but not Billy Garland. It was Crooksy who painted Afeni in Tupac's first bedroom when Afeni moved in with Glow, and there was Tupac's godfather, Cochise, who wrote him loving and careful letters from prison all through Tupac's growing up. I had heard how Glow kissed the newborn Tupac from head to toe as soon as he came out of the womb, but I had never heard stories of Billy Garland. So when I heard the news that Billy Garland was making claim to Tupac's money, I wondered how this man could stand in a courtroom in front of strangers and say he was this boy's father. I wondered, as I heard of this absurd lawsuit, how he could hold his head high enough to even see his way into a courtroom after not living one moment in the child's life. I wondered how he could take the tears of a grieving mother, as tough as that mother may be, and flaunt those tears in front of a judge and lawyers and say, I want some of what's left for her, for myself. It's incredible that a person who has never provided anything for a child, as that child grows up, would try to take what that child has made for himself on his own. All Billy Garland ever did for Tupac was create a void, which Tupac in all futility searched to fill for most of his life. So one of Afeni's first trials after Tupac died was to go up against Billy Garland. Fortunately, she was ready. By now, having been warned by Jada and me, she had a team. She had lawyers, Donald David and Rick Fishbein. She had an accountant, Jeffrey Joyner, who began sifting and sorting through Tupac's layers of financial madness. And she had Deloitte Touche, the firm that audited Interscope records and located Tupac's outstanding compensation.